So we have a concept called grant access using hierarchies and checkbox ఉంటుంది. So ఈ point we didn't discuss about this point in our last class. Okay, I explicitly avoided discussing this. Okay, so I thought of discussing when we discuss about roles. So when we enable this one for any, see we can enable or disable for any object. So but for all the standard objects, this grant access using hierarchies checkbox will be enabled by default. Okay, that means even if you edit this organizational defaults, you cannot uncheck this for the standard objects. Okay, that means you cannot restrict the standard object records visibility to managers and their senior managers. For example, in this case, Raj is the manager role, okay, and Mahesh is the senior manager role. So as I mentioned here, so Raj is reporting to Mahesh. Any record owned by any record, not only account record, any records that are owned by Raju will be automatically will also be visible to his manager. I mean, in this case, senior manager. Okay, senior manager Mahesh. Clear? So why they will be visible? Because we are granting the access using the hierarchy. What is the hierarchy? Role hierarchy. Okay, so that's what I am trying to convey here. So, but one limitation here is that we cannot uncheck this grant access using hierarchies for the standard object. Clear? But you can do, see, all these things that I have in this Salesforce are, I have only standard objects. I don't have any custom object. That is the reason I'm not able to uncheck it for anyone. Okay, any standard objects. But if you have custom object, you can uncheck this for the custom. That means, for example, if you have, you have a custom object called population, okay, or employee. Okay, so now if employee, there are, for example, 10 employee records, for example, Azure, something, 10 employee records. If all the 10 employee records are owned by Raju, then if I don't want his manager Mahesh to see these 10 records, okay, then I can go ahead and uncheck that for the employee custom object if I have it here. Clear? We cannot uncheck this for the for the standard objects. Just remember that one. So what do you mean by grant access using hierarchies? People, not only his manager, okay, not only Raju's manager. So if you have any senior, super senior manager, for example, I have one more manager called super senior manager. Okay. So he is a senior manager. We have one more manager called super senior manager. So this guy also, okay, this guy also will be able to see, for example, Himesh. Okay, so Himesh will also be able to see all the records that are owned by Raju, and also if there are any records owned by Mahesh, also those records also will be visible for the Himesh, because these people are below hierarchy of the Himesh. Clear? So as long as this is enabled, grant access using hierarchies is enabled. Clear? Any confusion? No confusion, right? Okay. Now let's focus on this one. Okay. So when we create a new role, so we need to understand. So I mean, it's too early to understand it. Okay. I don't want to confuse you. So as of now, ignore this point, opacity access and case access. We will actually understand it later. Okay. So as of now, ignore it. Okay. Now let me tell you one thing. Okay. Okay, so users in this role can edit all opportunities associated with accounts that they own, regardless of who owns the opportunities. Okay. Okay, so users in this role edit all opportunities associated with accounts that they own. Okay. So for example, so this guy is saying, I mean, I can explain it to you now, but it will be confusing. Okay, let me, I'll try to make you understand. For example, so this guy, for example, if I have assigned, for example, so international sales is the role. Okay, so I have maybe Rajesh is the user, for example, let's say. Okay, So if Rajesh is having the, if Rajesh is the owner of maybe Infosys account. Okay, for example, I'm taking Rajesh. So whose role is I'm saying international VP sales. So and this guy is actually owner of maybe an account. Okay, an account with the name called Infosys, for example. Okay, and this is Infosys having the two opportunity cards. Okay, and Raj is the owner of, and this sorry, Rajesh is the owner of Infosys account. Okay, Rajesh is the owner of Infosys account. For this Infosys account, Raj is the owner. Sorry, Rajesh. Okay. Now, what this is saying is that, so for example, we have two opportunities, right? For example, opportunity one, opportunity one. So when I say these two opportunities are related to Infosys, means if I open opportunity one, so account ID, account name will be Infosys, right? No, right? Infosys. Okay. And here for this one also Infosys. So if owner of this record, for example, some Kamlesh, okay, and this owner Mahesh Gupta. So what this is saying is that, okay, so whoever is assigned with this role, okay, so if this guy is the owner of any account, for example, Rajesh is the owner, okay, and this, owner for this account, okay, so he will be able to see all the opportunities related to this account where he is the owner, even though he is not the owner of the opportunities. So that's what he is saying. Okay, see, users in this role can edit what he can edit, all opportunities. So, but when he say all opportunities, but which are all opportunities associated with the accounts? A opportunities, E account related. So opportunities associated with this account. Okay, so Rajesh can edit all opportunities related to his account. Okay, so see, Rajesh is the owner of the Infosys account, but he is not the owner of his opportunity records. But still, he will be able to edit the opportunity records related to the accounts that he is the owner of. Okay, are you clear? So though he is not the owner, regardless of the who owns the opportunity. So though Rajesh is not the owner of this opportunity one and opportunity two, he will still be able to edit this opportunity one or opportunity two data, because the parent, he is the owner of the parent account, that is the Infosys. Are you clear on this point, or am I making you confused? Hello?
No, clear.
Clear, right? So as long as on the parent account record, if this guy is the owner, so he will be able to get the edit access to all the opportunity records, child opportunity records that are related to this account only. So then he will be able to edit it. So that's what he is saying. Okay, so if you read it through. Similarly for case also. So if this Infosys account is having maybe 2 or 3 cases, okay, cases records. Okay, so case 1, case 2, case 3. Okay. When I say case 1, case 2, case 3. Okay, case 3. So how can we say case is related to particular account or not? If on the case level, if I have the account name related to, okay, Infosys, then that is related to, so case is the child of account, that you know, right? Okay, so that you know, right? So if you open any case, if this account is related to, if this case is related to, for example, this any account, for example, if you have the Infosys account, if this Infosys, for example, if this case is this case is related to United Iron and Gas Corporation. Okay, what I'm trying to say here is that, okay, so this guy, when he logs in, okay, since he is the owner, he will be able to access the cases related to this, all the cases related to this account. How many cases are related to this account? Okay, so there are 6 plus, okay, total 7 cases are there. So he is saying that this owner can access all the cases related to this account. Clear? So though, even though, for example, if I open any case here, okay, even though if I open any case, see, case can have a different owner. For example, even if I see as of now, case owner is same as the account owner. Okay, account owner. So what is saying here is that even though case owner and account owner is different, for example, in this case, if I update the case owner to different user, if I update the case owner to different user from this user, okay, for example, this user, okay. Now, if I make case OWD as private, now as per the OWD settings, who will be able to see this case? Only the owner of the case can see these cases, okay, only the owner, okay. But since this case related account, okay, who is the owner? User access policy. When this guy logs in, so he will be able to see all the cases related to this account. That's what he's saying. Are you clear? So see, users in this role can not only see, can edit also all the cases associated with the accounts that they want. So for example, so are you getting, like, so this guy is the owner of this account and he will be able to edit the opportunities and cases related to this account. Clear? Or am I making you confused? Regardless of who is the owner of the cases. Though the cases owner is different, since this case is a child of this account, okay, whoever is the owner of this account, he will also be able to edit these cases irrespective of the owner of the case. Am I making you confused, or shall I explain it with a different example? Hello, can you please repeat? Sorry, can you please respond? I meant to ask. So, are you understanding? So are you clear on these 2 points? Or do you want some time to read through it and come back? Hello, guys, please respond.
Okay, it's clear.
ఇంకా ఏమైనా చిన్న కన్ఫ్యూజన్ ఉంటే చెప్పండి, మళ్ళీ రిపీట్ చేస్తాను. ఓనర్ ఉన్నప్పుడు ఈ అకౌంట్ ఓనర్ పలానా, ఈ అకౌంట్ కి ఈ యూజర్ ఓనర్ అబ్బా. ఓకే ఓకే, క్లియర్? సో దెన్ యాజ్ ఈ అకౌంట్ కి రిలేట్ అయిన ఆపర్చునిటీస్ కావచ్చు, అకౌంట్ కి రిలేట్ అయిన కేసెస్ కావచ్చు, ఈ కేసెస్ ఆపర్చునిటీస్ ఓనర్ వేరే వాళ్ళైనా కూడా, ఓకేనా, సిన్స్ దీస్ ఆపర్చునిటీస్ రిలేట్ అయిన అకౌంట్ యూజర్ వచ్చేసి ఇతను ఉన్నాడు కాబట్టి హీ విల్ బి ఏబుల్ టు ఎడిట్ అని చెప్పి చెప్తున్నాడు అన్నమాట. క్లియర్? ఆపర్చునిటీస్ ఓనర్ వేరే వాడైనా, కేసు ఓనర్ వేరే వాడైనా, ఈ కేసుకి రిలేట్ అయిన అకౌంట్ ఓనర్ వచ్చేసి ఇతను. దెన్ ఈవెన్ దో ఆపర్చునిటీ ఓనర్ ఇస్ డిఫరెంట్ అండ్ కేసెస్ ఓనర్ డిఫరెంట్, this guy will be still be able to edit those accounts and opportunities related to this account because he is the owner of this particular account and these cases and opportunities are related to this account. Clear? So that's what he is trying to say. Okay, now this is about the roles. Okay, and we already discussed about the grant access using the hierarchy roles. Now we already discussed about the public groups also, public groups. Okay, now let's focus on the queue. So queue is also just like a group of users. So you may say like, so public group is also group of users, and you are also saying queue is also group of users. Then why we have the 2 different things, public group 1 and queue1? Okay, so can't you have only one public group? Okay, but the purpose of public group is different and the purpose of queue is different. So that is the reason they mainly segregate. So what is that different purposes for each? Okay, for each one. Okay, so I can say when I say purpose of public group is different. For any public group that you create, so is used for the record level sharing. Okay, record level sharing. So what do you mean record level sharing? If you remember in yesterday's class, I created one public group. Okay, public group. Okay, and I have created one sharing rule also. Okay, so I shared using that in that sharing rule. So to whom I have shared that lead object record, if you remember, I share it to the public group. So I cannot share a record to a queue. So, but I can share a record to public group. Okay. So what is the main difference? Okay. If you take a queue, okay, you cannot share a record. When you say share in a sharing rules. Okay, to a queue, okay, queue. But public group, you can share a record to a public group. Let me show you that again. Okay, whatever we discussed, ignore the spelling mistakes. So, sharing rules. Sorry, sharing settings. Remember, so if you create any sharing rule, for example, anything, not only on the lead account, for example, you create a new one. So if you see here, see, when in the share with, you don't find the queues, you find only public groups, roles, and roles internal subordinate. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say. So you cannot share a record in sharing rules to a queue, but you can share a record in sharing rules. Okay, record. Okay, so in sharing rules to a public group. Clear? Are you clear with the difference? Why I can see Salesforce doesn't support sharing a record, okay, to a queue, but it will support sharing a record to a public group. That is the main difference. Then why Salesforce is still giving the queues? Okay, so queues actually represents the, okay, task ownership. So if you remember, we have a cases and case and lead objects. Okay, so I explained about these two things in yesterday's class. These represents the work related, work or task related items or objects. Okay, so that is the reason we have a private public read only, public read write transfer. If you remember, public write, public read and write, and we have one more OWD called public
transfer.
Read, write, transfer also we have, but we have this option only for case and lead because it represents the work item. So other difference is that queue we cannot share it, a record public group we can share it, but we can share a record of the case and lead, okay, on case and lead to queue, a queue. So I will explain it again in a better way. So, but I request you to go through this line also. Okay, go through these two lines. Okay, so queues allows group of users to manage a shared workload. So in Salesforce, what is the object that represents the workload? It's a case and a lead. Okay, so basically, if you want to assign a case or assign a lead, okay, you can assign it to a queue. So queue again is a group of users. Okay, so but you cannot assign a case or lead object, okay, to a public group. Okay, so that means you cannot assign ownership of queue or lead to a public group, but you can assign to a queue. Okay, clear? Another difference. Good difference. So this guy is saying queues allows group of users. Again, see, public group is also group of users, queues also group of users, but the purpose of queues is different. That's what my point of explanation is that. So when you, so let me go to the any case. Okay, so let me go to the case. So if you open any case record, okay, and if you try to click on the change owner, so focus here on the click and drop down. You are able to modify the ownership of the case. You can select the different user or you can select the different queue. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. But you cannot assign this case to a different public group. Okay, clear? So the purpose of queue is to share a workload. So what is the workload? Any record of the case or any record of the lead represents a workload because there is some action that needs to be completed. Clear? So that's what he's saying. Okay. So the record remains in the queue until the user accepts them for processing or they transfer to another queue. That means, see, queue again, queue is also a group of users. So group of users only, group of users only. Okay. Again, public group is also same. There is nothing different. But the usage purpose of the queue is different from the usage purpose of the public group. Mainly public groups are for the sharing a record purpose, but the queue's purpose is to share a workload. Okay, share a workload. See, also if I go to the lead, if I go to the lead, okay, if I go to the lead, and if I try to change the ownership, okay, if I change, okay, I will not be able to find the public groups. See this queues. If I see in the lead ownership, when you are trying to change the ownership, you are able to find the queue, and also the case also you are able to find the queue. But let me check whether I will be able to find the queue section when I try to modify the owner of the account record or contact record. See there is nothing that I cannot transfer the ownership to a queue for the account record. I can only transfer the ownership for the lead and case record, case object records to a queue, but none of the other object records I cannot transfer it to the queue. Clear? For example, if you go to the opportunities, okay, when you try to edit the ownership, okay, see you cannot select the public group or queue. See, you can actually share it to a public group through sharing rules, but here while sharing a record, you will not be able to select whether you want to share it to a queue or whether you want to share it to a user. Okay, you will be able to see or able to find only at the lead and case object, because those represent the workload, and these queues are used for the workload sharing. For example, if any new case, customer complaint raised. Okay, so if I create the new case, so I can directly assign it to a particular user or directly assign it to the particular queue. So for example, I have a queue called all the IT admin. Okay, so I will add all the users from the IT admin to the queue. So when the case related to when any new case is raised, I can, instead of assigning to single user, I will assign to the public group. So then whoever is a free, okay, whoever is on the free time, then they can actually accept that case from queue to their name. Okay. Now let's focus on. See, you can specify the set of objects that are supported by each queue. So that means while creating the new queue, they are saying that to see not only case and lead. I just explained about the example. So these are all the objects, standard objects that supports the queue ownership transfer. Clear? See, lead and case is the simple example. So these are all the standard objects that Salesforce itself supports. Okay. So these are all the standard objects that Salesforce itself gives. Okay. So all these things represent the work item. So don't get confused what you mean by a group. All those things you don't need. So only focus on case and lead. Okay. For example, I want to create a queue. Okay, for the lead object. Okay, lead object. Okay. Now, who should be part of this queue that I'm going to create? So I will use Jessica, an integration user. So these two people need to be part of this. Okay. So, but you can also add the roles public groups also. For example, if you add any public group, all the people who are part of this public group, okay, will also become the part of this queue that I'm going to create. Clear? Any confusion? Now I will give the okay. So lead reps from India is a queue name. Okay. So here this is important. Okay. To which object that I am associating? To lead object I am associating. Okay. Now send email to members. When you actually enable this one, so it will automatically send an email to this members, to this overall members. It will actually send an email saying that you are part of this so and so queue. So we can also have the separate email for this queue. Okay, for example, normally we have the separate emails, Outlook emails in any regular working environment. So for queue also we can have the separate email, but it's not mandatory. Ignore it. Okay. So if you want to explain why you are creating that queue, you can actually write it. So now you click on the save. Now what I will do, I will go to the lead object, any record which is actually lead. Now I can transfer the ownership from any particular lead. Okay, from current user to that this user. See, when I search with the keyword, all the queues with that key name will come. Okay, when you click on the send notification email, all the members of this queue will receive an email notification that so and so lead has been assigned to your queue. Then any person in this queue, any person, okay, anyone in this queue, Jessica, Tanaka, integration user can go ahead and then they can actually again edit and transfer the ownership from queue to their name. So clear? So basically, when you don't want to specifically assign it a particular task to particular user, so you will assign it to a group. So let him pick up whenever they are free. So for those flexibility, okay, so we have the what you call this queues concept. Similarly, since we specifically added this to available object as a okay, so lead supported object, I should not be able to use this for the other object. For example, I cannot use it for the cases. Clear? See, I am not able to find that queue because the queue that I have created is specifically supported for the lead object. For example, I want that to be supported for the case object also. Now select the case, add it, save. Now you come here again and refresh it once again. Now you try to transfer the ownership from Gautam Raj to this. See? Clear now? See, here also you can see this is called chart, case feed. So ownership has been updated from Gautam Raj to so and so queue. Clear, right? Any confusion on the queue? Hello?
అన్న ఒకసారి మళ్ళీ చెప్తారా అన్న?
Okay. So do you understand what do you mean by public group? Public group is a just group of users. That's it. Clear? See, the main purpose of public group is to use it in a sharing rules. We can use it in different purpose also, but as of now, since we discussed about sharing rules, to share a record, okay, to a public group based on the criteria of ownership. Clear? Are you clear on the purpose of public group?
Yes అన్న.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I cannot assign a record, any record. When I say assign a record, so ownership to a public group directly. Okay. So that means you should know the limitation that when I edit any record, any standard custom object. So I simply say it's not just account. So I cannot select the public group here and select that public group name. So it's the purpose is not for that. So you can use this public group in a sharing rules that you remember, right? Sharing rules. Okay. I can see the list of all the public groups. So wherever this criteria satisfies, those criteria satisfied records, I would like to automatically get shared with these public group members. And what is the level of access that I need to give, that I can do. And you are clear on the public group so far, right? See, ownership I cannot assign to a public group, but okay, and public group is used to share a record to a public group based on the criteria or based on ownership. Are you clear? So any confusion on the public group ownership on these 2 points? Okay.
No.
Okay. Now again we have the queue. So queue is also group of users only. Okay. But while creating the queue, we need to associate this queue with one or more objects. Okay. So what is the purpose? So okay, association, where we will associate when you go ahead and create the queue. So while creating the queue, it will ask you to the supported objects. See, all the objects that we have in the left side actually represents the work item. Okay. So if I tell you all these things, it will be confusing for you. So as of now, we already discussed about lead and case. This represents the work item it represents. That means an action to be taken in order to complete that. So basically, if I assign you a lead, it's your responsibility to follow up with that lead and make that try to convert that lead as a customer. Similarly, case, it's a customer complaint, and if I assign it to you, it's your responsibility to complete that case. So public group is also group of users, queue is also group of users. But queue is used for the sharing of the workload. Okay, we use queue for the sharing of the workload. Okay, so that means if you assign a case or lead to a queue, okay, any user who is part of that queue can accept ownership from queue to their name. That means, for example, I created this queue. Okay, created this queue. Now, when I create the new case or lead, okay, instead of assign, see, I can assign this case or lead. Okay, for example, if you go to the case, okay, if you try to change ownership, you can assign this to a single user, okay, or you can directly assign it to a public, sorry, queue. Clear? So what I'm trying to say is that, so this queue is mainly used for the sharing of the workload purpose. Clear? So when we say sharing of the workload purpose, so we can assign this ownership of the lead object or case object either to a single user or to a queue completely. Clear? But in order to be able to assign it to a queue, whatever the queue that you have, okay, so while creating, okay, for example, I'm trying to assign the lead ownership to a particular queue. Okay, that queue should be associated, should have the supported object, okay, on this lead object. For example, if I don't have the supported object as the lead, then I cannot use this queue on the lead object ownership. Clear? For
Yes.
example, okay, I'm clear. I'm so to see to which all objects I can use newly created queue means okay, I can use this queue, okay, on all the objects of the selected objects. For example, I cannot see there are the different types of standard objects. Okay, I can, as of now, I can use this lead object only on the case ownership or the lead ownership. Okay, I cannot use it for any other things. Okay, clear?
Yes.
So basically, queues represents the work item. Okay? So that any task needs to be completed, that represents. So and all the things that you see in the left side, all these things also standard objects, different standard objects. So if you ask me like what is the purpose of so and so, that is not necessary now. Even for the interview perspective also, that is not necessary. So basically, just remember, queue also represents a group of users, but that is used to share the workload to the group of users. And the main difference queue and public group is that we can use this public group inside the sharing groups, but we cannot use that in a sharing group. We can use this queue to share a record of, ownership of the lead and case objects. Clear? While adding the members of the queue, you can add a single user or you can have a public group also, just like I have it here. So all the members of this public group will also become part of this queue. So are you clear now or any confusion?
No confusion yet.
Are you good, Deja?
అర్థమైందన్న.
Okay. Next. So this is about the queue. Okay. Next. And one more thing that I need to tell you. So as of now, I mentioned the lead object as a private. Okay. So now we know like what is a private only owner can see. Now what I will do? Let me go to the object manager. Let me go to the leader. Sorry, buttons and buttons, links and actions. No, page layout. What is the limit layout? So why I'm going to see specifically like one object can have multiple layouts that you know, right? So I know for system administrator, the assigned page layout is lead layout. That's the reason I'm just going ahead and editing it. So why I'm suddenly shifting to the page layout, sorry, directly from the queue, I will explain. Okay. So I hope you are now clear with the public group and queue. So now let me go to the share. Okay, let me check it. Okay. Now, if you are clear, I will move to the different topic. Okay. So in last class we discussed about the okay. So what we discussed so far. So I mean in this class at least. Okay, in this class we only discussed so far. We discussed about the role hierarchy setup. Okay, and the queues. What is the purpose of this? And public group we already discussed. Now let's move to the different topic. So you know like so for the lead object we have set up the private. Okay, that means only one of the can see this record. Okay. Now we also set up the sharing rules. Okay. So based on this so-and-so criteria, I want to automatically share these records. Whatever the records, lead records satisfies this criteria, automatically share this public group. Okay. So apart from the ownership, I mean apart from the criteria or ownership based, I can individually share a record manually. That means, for example, if I open any one record, for example, if I open any one record, all the lead records. Okay. So Christian Akin, okay. So if I want to share this record, okay, to Gordon Ross, how can I do? I can make the industry as agriculture as per this criteria, if you remember, right? Sorry, agriculture. If I make it as automatically, it will share with the not only with the Gordon Ross, all the members of this public group. Okay, Gordon Ross is also part of this public group, so that you will also be able to see it. Now, I don't want to make this particular industry as agriculture because this Christian Akinna related company Atna Home Products is not actually related to agriculture. But still, I feel that this record needs to be visible to. This is a special case record, and I would like to share this only this record without modifying industry equals to agriculture. But still, I want to share it with the Gordon, who is not the owner of this record. So how can I make visible? I mean, how can I share this record to Gordon? One is either to make this as agriculture, that I don't want to do it now. Otherwise, I want to share the ownership to the Gordondas. Again, I don't want to do that, but still, I would like to share this record through Gordondas. So for that, we have a concept called manual sharing. Got it? Manual sharing. Okay. So since I have it as a OWD as a private, so I will be able to have see the sharing button. Okay. So sharing button actually gives you the flexibility to manually share a record without use of the sharing rules. Clear? See, sharing rules actually get shared automatically if it satisfies the certain criteria. So without satisfying that criteria, manually I want to share it with a different user. Okay, got it? See here, I can share it to the public group. Okay. See, when you would like to share the ownership. So you can actually share it to the queue. But we would like to normally do the manual sharing. So this is called manual sharing. So you can share it with the public group or the role or the user. So clear? So to whom I want to share? I want to share the Gordon Ross. Clear? Now, even though Gordon Ross is not the owner of the record, he will be still able to read it. Okay. But if you want to give the edit permission also, I can give the read and edit. Okay. Clear? Any confusion? See, without updating the owner to Gordon Ross, and without updating the industry with agriculture, where we can it gets automatically satisfies without manual sharing also, it will automatically get shared as per this criteria. Okay. Now, even without modifying the owner and without modifying the industry, I would like to still share it with the Gordon Ross because I feel that it's very importantly, and I would like him to have a minimum read access. How can I do that? Click on here and sharing button. So then I can type. Clear, right? So if you are feeling any confusion, so Christian Akin is not the user access policy is the owner, but still Gordon Ross should be able to see it. Now let me go ahead and log in as the Gordon Ross and see whether he is able to read the Christian Akin record or not, though he is not the owner. Okay. Because I manually shared it. I am the owner of this record. I manually shared with him. Okay, then you should be able to see it. So this is called another level of sharing a record through manual sharing. Clear? See, he's able to see, right? So this guy is not the owner, but she'll be able to see it. I think he should not be able to edit this record because he is not the owner, and also we should give only read permission. Clear? See, he is not able to, because while sharing itself, I have given the read permission. Clear, right? Any confusion?
No.
Okay. Now not only that one, so now I can also, while sharing a record, I can give the, if I want maybe Gautam Raj to edit that record, while sharing a record itself, I can give the edit permission also. Okay. See, you can see the existing edits that I have added. So Gautam Raj is having the read only permission. You can change the read and write. Or else if you don't want him to at least completely read also, delete this one and save this one again. Then he will lose the access. So that's called manual sharing. Okay. So far we have seen how can we share it? How can we share a record? So we can share a record through OWD, okay, and through the role hierarchy, and through then sharing rules, and then manual sharing also. Is possible. Now that is one way. So this is called manual. So see this at individual record level only we can do this. Okay. So next. Now what I will do, I will go ahead and update the, okay, now I have the ownership as private, okay. Now I will make it as a public read only. I will check whether I have this sharing button or not, okay. It takes some time to reflect. Now I will go ahead and refresh it, hard refresh it. So you know what I mean by public read only. So even though Gautam Raj is not the owner, but still able to see the other ownership records, because at the OWD itself we have the public read only. All the users can see the records. Okay. Now at that point of also, okay. So now when you have given the public read only, he can only read the records where he is not the owner. Okay, but he cannot edit it. So, but still, if I want to go ahead and share the record, okay. Now in this case, I want to give the, he is able to read already. So see, if I go ahead and share the record to Gautam Raj, so even without giving this, if I click on save, since because I have already given the public read only, even without giving this read only, you will be able to see it. So then there is no point of giving the read only, because by the OWD itself we made it as read only. But still, if you want to give the additional access other than read, if you want to give the write also, then you can give the. So only to this particular only to this lead record only you will be able to have the read access, not to any other record. Clear? Now you save it. Once I log in, you will be able to edit also. So though he has the edit to only this record, not to any other records where he is not the owner. Okay. Now what I will do, I will make the public read write. Okay. So any user, not only Gautam, any user who has the minimum read and edit permission will be able to see all the lead records irrespective of whether he is the owner of the record or not. Okay. So because we have given the public read write option. Okay, clear? Now let me come back here and do hard refresh and check whether I am still be able to share the record or not. Okay. It should get completed actually. So this sharing process gets recalculated. Okay. Now it's completed. Refresh it again. If you come here. So see in OWD itself, I have the public read write. Okay. So then if I manually share this one, okay, there is no point. Okay. So because I have already given the public read write, so any user who has the minimum read permission and edit permission will be able to read all the ownership records, all the records of the lead records, irrespective of the ownership. Because at the OWD itself, you have the public read write. That means he not only Christian Akin, okay, he will be able to read all the records. Okay. It means now I logged in as this guy. He should be able to read and edit also, because at OWD I have given the edit permission. Clear? Now what I will do, I will try to edit it. Since at OWD level I have given the read and edit permission, I will be able to edit it. Now I will log out it. Okay. So though Gautam Raj is having the edit permission because of the OWD as public read, right? So Okay, so if I manually share that record again, okay, if I manually share that record again, see, he has already read permission, edit permission, but still, as for somewhere, okay, so while playing around with my arg, I am trying to give the read permission. Okay, read permission, save it. I am giving the read only, okay. See, at OWD itself, I am giving the public read, right? But on the manual sharing, okay, so I am giving, see, now just read this. We couldn't create the record, share record for the both the runs. So I should be able to see the complete message. This error. We couldn't create the record share data for the core numbers. So the reason also they should have explained. Okay. The field integrity. So I'm not able to copy it completely. So it's like a, see, at the OWD itself, you are giving the public read rate. But when you are sharing a record, see, by default, he has the edit permission to all the lead records irrespective of the ownership. But when you are sharing it, you are trying to restrict it, okay, by giving the read only. So because of that, so we will get the error saying that, so Govardhan is already having edit permission because of this sharing rules. But still, when you try to give the read only, it's like at OWD you have given the public read, right? That's a explicit permission, and you are trying to restrict it. That you cannot do that. Okay, are clear? See, once you give that read and edit, and if you try to give the read only here, then you will get the error. Okay, clear? They already have the read and edit permission. Again, you don't need to share it with that user because by default they have all the lead records. Okay, clear, right? Any confusion?
So why it will give a error? I mean, we can't allow from the two places, or what is?
No, basically, so see, as long as if you have the private or public read only, okay. So when you have the private, okay, so Govardhan Raj will not be having the visibility to this record, okay, because it is not satisfying that what you call industry equals to agriculture. So that is the reason he will not be able to see, and he is not the owner, he will not be able to see. So at that case, since he is not able to see, I can manually only this record I can share, and I can give the minimum edit permission and read permission. Okay. And when you have the public read only, so at that point I can share a record. See, if I give the public read only, he can see this record without manually sharing. Okay. But if I want him to give the edit permission also only to this record, on the sharing I will give the read and edit permission. Okay. But if I give the public read writer, even without sharing it explicitly, without need for manual sharing, since I am giving the public read writer, he has, even without manual sharing a record, he has the access to all the lead records with respect to the owner, and he has the capability of the edit also. So then there is no point of doing the manual sharing again. Here you are giving the edit and read permission, because by read and edit itself you are giving the edit permission. Clear? With respect to the ownership, public read write means any user with the read permission can be able to read and edit the records. So since it's already this guy Govardhan Raj is having permission to read and edit, there is no point of again sharing it with that particular user.
Yeah.
All the records he already has access. There is no point again sharing a single record when he already has the access.
Yeah.
Clear?
Yeah.
So that's about, see, you need to learn about what is manual sharing. Okay, so that, okay, let me check. We have the sharing there. Lesson on manual sharing. I will check. So user management, I hope you have completed, right? User management thing, did you complete? No? Can you check? I mean, not now, maybe later part. I don't see any sharing rules. I don't, okay. Not the manual sharing, I don't find any, but it's a concept, okay? So just remember. Okay. See, that's a feature that but allows record owners, okay, can share the individual records, okay, to specific users or to public groups. Also, to roles also can share. Clear? Basically, without manual sharing, for example, if I have the OWD as private, basically other user other than the owner cannot see that. But on specific single record, I can share a record through manual sharing button. Are you clear on this? Okay, this called manual sharing. But there are a lot of within one go we cannot grasp all the information. But as of now, just focus on by clicking on the share button, we can share a record. And while sharing a record, we can give public read only or public read. Sorry, read only or read write also. Okay. So, is there any other thing? Okay. So, is it fine for today? So, shall we end this class for now?